long do you think it takes to create a total shift in your energy and the way that money flows to you in your business? Well, today's guest on the podcast, Michelle Gordon, is sharing that you can turn around your energy levels and your magnetism and the amount of money that's flowing to you in just a matter of days. This is a really cool episode. I can't wait to share it with you, so make sure you stick around. Well, hello, Michelle. How are you going?
Hello, Claire. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you back on the podcast because I actually had you and your husband Roger on the podcast actually probably a couple of years ago now that I think about it. Gosh.
I think it was 2021.
What? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, well, I'm actually going to link to that episode in the show notes because that was such a really incredible episode where we spoke a lot about all of your manifestations and how much, your businesses had changed. But before we digress, I want you to introduce yourself to the listeners.
Yeah, my name's Michelle Gordon. I am a nurse of 26 years. I have a business in coaching, so coaching nurses now through burnout, how to overcome burnout and create lives that they love. And I also run a business with my husband, which is a flooring company, and that's how we sort of came to work with you, Claire. I think we started back in 2020, and both Roger and I worked with you, and you were coaching us at that time. And yeah, so nurse, mum of three, and yeah, I have two businesses. So
She's a busy woman, this one. And I love, love, love all of the work that you do. I think it's really incredible. You also forgot to mention that you're also a volunteer for the Surf Lifesaving.
I am too. I'm a surf lifesaver. Yes.
Exactly. There's a
Yeah.
lot on your plate, and we're very very grateful to have all the beautiful nurses and volunteers in the world who make a difference. And you even take it one step further by helping the people that are helping us. So love the work that you do. So I thought we might start by going way back to when we first met. So you reached out to me. I remember having a conversation with you way back when about you and your husband's business and how you were looking for a bit of help. We worked together for a couple of years,
Yeah.
and there were some really amazing transformations, I guess, that happened inside that business.
So many transformations. Yeah, I think I reached out to you. I was working in the emergency department nursing at the time. I think I was working 4 days a week, my contract was. Was also just starting out my own coaching business, the Healthy Happy Nurse, because I'd gone through my own journey of burnout and had such an incredible transformation. So I was writing a course at the time that could help nurses, which is now one of the courses that I have been running for the past 5 years. And at the same time, we had not long, or Roger and I had started our own flooring company, and were literally, he'd gone from working as an employee for 20 or so years to starting out on his own. And I think we had just him and like a junior person at the time, and we were literally winging it. We had no idea what we were doing. I was posting on social media. I'd created our social media accounts for the flooring company. We had no idea about numbers. We had no idea about profit and loss. Like, we were literally winging it. And I somehow came across you on Instagram, started following you, and that's when you were sort of talking about numbers. And it was clear that neither my husband or I knew anything about numbers. So yeah, so I connected with you, and I think like within 2 years, we hit our first 100K month in our business, which was incredible.
It
So,
was so amazing. And that's really a testament to you and Roger because you embraced the process. There was a bit of resistance because you were so heavily involved in all the other things that you had on your plate as well. You were so heavily involved in Gordon Flooring as well. And I'm like, hey,
Yes.
there's a lot of pies you're juggling here. Maybe we need to get a bit more support in the business as well. And I think that going on that journey, it was just amazing to watch. And all of the cool stuff. I think that a lot of times we forget as well. The reason we want to earn more money, it's not about the money. It's also about all of the other cool stuff that you
Yeah.
create in your life. I remember that you had this crazy dream to get a jet ski, and then you ended up getting jet skis, and you wanted to move to a new house, and you wanted to get a new car. And watching all of these things materialize along that journey was really, really cool as well. And I know that you've just gone on from strength to strength since then. So we don't need to go into that story too much, but I wanted to have that context to set the scene of how we first knew each other. And I guess, we've obviously stayed in each other's world since then. We have our little chats all the time on Instagram and Vox, and you've become a very good friend of mine. And I was delighted when you reached out to me and said that you wanted to do a VIP day.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, how exciting. And I, wanted to get a bit of a feel for what was going on for you at the time and why you wanted to do a VIP day. So I thought that might be a great place to start. So what sort of spurred on the, okay, I'm ready. I need to have a look at doing a VIP day.
Yeah, so I've seen you talk about VIP days and share that that's something that you offer. And I obviously have stayed connected with you over the years. And our flooring business has been going great and my husband's managing that and that's great. I have been running my coaching business, The Healthy Happy Nurse, for 5 years now. Yes, 5 years. And after hearing about your VIP day, I sort of I thought about this. Is this something that I need? And yes, it was definitely something that I needed because what I had created and set up all those years ago now felt out of alignment for me. And so when I reached out, there was a lot going on in terms of the things that I was managing in my personal life with family. My business felt really heavy and just clunky. And yeah, you sort of shared with me what that would look like to do a VIP day with you. And I was like, okay, do you know what? I think this is and like I had to really trust my intuition here because part of me was thinking, I don't know if this, so I'm going to be honest, I don't know if
Yeah.
this is really what I need because I think I need more someone to just really hone in on strategy and marketing and all of these things. So I actually said to Rog, I don't really know if I've made the right decision, but it's booked in and I'm going for it and I'm going with it. And he's like, babe, just go. I think you need something needs to shift right now. So I actually went in with just a little bit of doubt and hesitation. And oh my gosh, it was just, yeah, let's
Okay.
dive into that.
Let's dive into that. So, what you thought you needed by the sounds of it is you're like, I need strategy, I need some more marketing. And I'm going to be honest from my side because I followed you closely for many years. And I was like, her marketing is epic. I mean, you have always been a master of your messaging. You speak so confidently and well to the camera. I know that you've got the nose there, but I knew that something wasn't clicking for you. And I'm like, what's going on here? And it was
Yep.
when we got together that's when suddenly the curtain started to get peeled back, let's just say. So we met up, we had a room booked, and I guess, I've hosted a number of VIP days now, and I never really know where they're going to go because I can, look at someone's business from the outside. And then when you sort of really dive in, you go, okay, I can see what the core problem is here. So maybe if you can explain how we sort of started and I guess where the evolution of the day went.
Yeah, yeah. So we started off at, gosh, just take me back. I want to go back and do it all again. It was just the best day. And yeah, we really started with how I was feeling, where I want, what my business was like, how my energy was around it, and identifying where I was. And I remember saying to you, I actually just want to burn it all down. I just want
Yeah.
to close the
Hmm.
doors. I don't
Yeah.
want to do this anymore. You were like, right, let's pull this apart. And and I really talked about, I think you got me to sort of look at what I wanted and how I wanted my business to be and feel like. And from there, that was where we started to really look at, well, what was happening in the business itself. So that was one kind of part of it in the services and the things that I was offering. But what else was happening outside in my personal life, which I actually didn't think we were going to really dive into. But that was what a huge part of this day was about, was what was I holding in other areas of my life? And you helped really map that out, that these were really big chunks of time and energy, and that I was, you know, being in, I guess, and that was consuming a lot of me. And yeah, that was a really big eye opener for me because I was in such, I guess, a state of just overwhelmed with all of the stuff that I was holding, that I didn't realize that was energetically, yeah, showing up in my business in a way.
Absolutely. And then the way that your business was structured was so heavy on you. You were doing all of these calls, you had this free Facebook community, you were managing all of the energy for all these people for nothing.
Yeah,
There was a lot of different things. And I think that you were in just such a state that you were like, I've just got to work harder. I've just got to add more. I've just got to create something new. And I was like, you've got all this amazing stuff, but you're just doing way too much,
yeah, yeah.
both outside of business and also in the business. I'm like, you're holding a lot. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you feel like you want to burn this thing down.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like I've been going for, 5 years now and hadn't ever really stopped to look at, like you're creating and you're building and you're doing and you're adding things in, and it just became like my business became this thing that I was like, that was actually burning me out. And I'm a burnout coach.
Yeah,
Like, isn't it crazy?
yeah.
And yeah, it took you to really stop and pull everything back and go, look at where all your energy's going. So yes, you've got all these personal things going on, and yes, you've got all this energy tied up in spaces and pockets in your business that it doesn't need to be. And that was like, whoa, okay. And I'd been thinking that for a while, but I needed to hear it from somebody else.
And do you know what? As you know, I've recently invested in mentorship as well. And it's so funny how I can't see my own blind spots either. And when you have someone outside, they can just come in and be like, and for example, I work with a lot of digital marketing agencies. And the first thing I'm like, what's going on with your marketing? Because they're
Yeah.
so busy helping everyone else. And I know for me, I'm so busy serving my clients that I don't have the capacity to be able to step back and objectively see things. So what you're describing is very common. Even if we think, we're like, I'm the expert in burnout or I'm the expert in business, and then
Yeah.
someone from outside goes, there's a lot of blind spots that you can't see. I actually recorded
100%.
a podcast episode about it this week because I know for me, I've got my own blind spots and it needs to be someone from outside. I do want to take a moment and acknowledge and applaud you because a lot of particularly people who are experts, I know for me, I'm going to be honest, my ego's probably been in the way a bit the last couple of years. I've been like, I know it all. I don't need help. And it does take a lot of courage to actually say, do you know what? I need a bit of help with this. And I don't even know what that looks like, but I'm gonna put my hand up and I'm gonna also put my money, I guess, behind it as well. And really say, I'm gonna lean into this. And a second thing that I want to applaud you on as well is how incredibly coachable you were through the whole process. I know that I can be a bit of a tough love coach. And when I'd say things, I'm like, oh, I don't know how this is going to land. And you'd be like, you're right. You're 100% right. And
Yep.
I'd be like, oh, cool. I'm really glad that she can receive that. And, for me now being a coachee myself, I'm also acutely I'm here because I want to change. And I know that to do that, I have to be open and
Mhm.
vulnerable and be willing to say, okay, yep, I'll receive that and I'm going to act on it. So I just want to take a moment and acknowledge you because, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened, but at the end of the day, it's irrelevant. And you would know this from your own experience being a coach. It's irrelevant if someone isn't ready to receive it and isn't willing to take the action.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put my hand up and say, in the past, I've worked with some fantastic mentors and I wasn't in the right place, or I heard it, agreed with it, and then didn't follow through,
Yeah.
and then wondered why I wasn't creating the transformation. So I do just want to take a moment and recognize that. But let's dive a little bit in because the listeners might be thinking, okay, so there's been a big shift. Like, firstly, what exactly did this entail? Like, what actually changed after the VIP day?
Oh, huge energetic shift. So you tasked me to lots of different things.
That was a big action plan,
There
wasn't
was a big
there?
action plan, and one of them was, yeah, being able to to not have. So my go-to was I need to show up more. I need to do more. I need to do another free course, or need to do another free masterclass or challenge. And I've been doing that for the last 2 years, every single month, and showing up in my free Facebook group. And I've shut that down. I've shut down my Facebook group. Oh my gosh. And I'd been thinking about this for so long, and it was just confirmation that you were like, no, 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 you've got a podcast, Michelle. You've got all these free resources, which I have. I've got free resources on my website, through my link tree in Instagram. So there's all of these different free resources that I have that I didn't need to be showing up in a free Facebook group. So that was one energetic leak that I guess I had to, plug the hole in there, really pulling apart how I was, the structure of the masterclasses and challenges that I do run. So rather than showing up every month, multiple times a month, I think we pulled that back down to like 6 times a year, or yeah, something like that. So halved that. And then it was managing the ways in which what was happening in my personal life as well. So really taking a step back from, I guess, the way I'd been showing up, and yeah, running around for other people. And you know yeah, there was a lot of things that were happening that were consuming my energy. And at the end of the day, after I'd done all of that for everyone else in my family, I wasn't showing up for me. So I had to really just stop, take a step back, delegate. That was one of the things that you got me to do, delegate, and actually set some family time back again and some me time back again, because I hadn't been doing that. I felt like I'd been constantly on. If it wasn't on in my business, I was on for everyone else, and being available all the time.
Yeah. And I think that when you've got a big heart, like I know you do, you want to help everyone. And it was really divine timing because I'd just been on my own journey of the same thing of realizing, whoa, you have got to put your own life jacket on before you're going to be helping everyone else, or face mask, whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever the analogy is. So it was really, really beautiful timing. I know another couple of things that we really looked at in your business, because one of the things that happens over time is that when we're building this business, we keep adding more and more things in. And one of the things that you did, again, because you've got a big heart and you want to help everyone, was that you kept adding more and more calls in. You're like, I need to add for the UK and the US, and I need to do this. And I
Mm,
looked and I'm like, Michelle, look how much you are servicing
yeah.
this community for that price point. And so we were also like, hang on, let's start to strip this back. And sometimes that can feel really yucky and icky because we think I've got to do all of these things. One of the things that I that my mentor just said to me, because one of the things I always do is do dual time. So I would run a challenge, I'd run a masterclass AM PM, and she's like, "Whoa, that's a lot." And I'm like, "But don't I have to do that to hit all the time zones?" You
Yeah.
don't have to do all the things that you think you have to do.
Yeah.
And when you're in it, a lot of the times we can't see that. I know another big thing that was really frustrating you was spending a lot of your time and energy on misaligned clients, on people coming in, getting on these phone calls. They're kind of wanting to pick your brain for free on a discovery call rather than, like, to me, a discovery call is you want in, let's just do a quick energy check in
Yes.
if this is, and you were having all these phone calls where you're trying to convince people who didn't even know the price point as well, trying to convince them, come work with me. And that was zapping a lot of your time and energy as well. So there was another little a leak that got tightened up there as well.
100%. I have always, so way back when I first started coaching, the way I guess that I was taught to offer my services and share my services was through discovery calls. And so I've been doing that for 5 years. And as I've been showing up more, offering masterclasses and all of these challenges, I was having like so many calls a month, and quite a few of those calls were with nurses who just actually didn't want to do the work. They just wanted to jump on and have a chat and I guess have a free session with me. And I'm, really strict about not coaching on these calls, but at the end of the day, it's an energetic exchange. And, hearing their story, identifying where they are at in their burnout journey and what's contributing to their burnout. It is that energetic exchange and taking from my energetic capacity. So I've started to feel really resentful about those calls because I was looking at the calls that were booked in on my, throughout my week, and I'm thinking, are these people going to be ready? Because nothing would, was getting really frustrated to get to the end knowing that this person wanted change and needed to change, and then them saying, "Oh, no, I'm not ready to invest." And at
Mm.
that point, yes, you can tackle those money objections and do that. But I just had no energy to even do that. So I was like, okay, bye now. Like, because I was so frustrated in the end that I was showing up and that wasn't, yeah, that exchange wasn't there because I know that I can help these people. I have the tools and I have these resources that these nurses can go through step by step to have this transformation. And you said to me, no more discovery calls, Michelle. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, it was like like, yeah, I don't know. It was like you totally stripped this safety blanket that I'd been using that actually wasn't even working for me anymore. And we did that. So I stopped the discovery calls. I actually haven't done a discovery call since our VIP day.
Wow.
And I had, so straight after that, I had nurses reaching out and connecting with me on Instagram and, through my podcast and whatever. And I think I had 4 people join my 12-week program without a discovery call straight after the VIP day. So, yeah, that was like my jaw was, yeah, like wide open going, oh my gosh, I had no idea that I could do this way. And it felt so good not having to be on all these calls, and it just happened so effortlessly. So,
Yeah. So what do you think? Because A big thing I said is forget about selling for now. We need to get you back on track. And then the irony is, as soon as you did that, like the sales, you were like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
sales are coming in. I was getting all these because with the VIP day, you also get the month of Voxer after. So we were chatting every day and you were dropping me all these messages saying, I can't believe it. What do you think changed? Why do you think that started to happen?
Oh, all of those things that were frustrating me. So, all that frustration, resentment, they're huge signs that you're out of alignment. And I had been out of alignment, feeling those feelings for months, if not over a year or more. And as soon as we tied up all of those energetic leaks that were leaking my energy and creating that misalignment, it was like boom, within hours, like literally hours after that day, I'd energetically come back into alignment with what was important to me and what I wanted. And that, I don't know, that shift can be felt. Like it was just so certain. I was like, I'm not doing discovery calls anymore. I'm closing down my 12-week program. Nurses, if you want to join, now's the time. And I showed up on Instagram and shared that. And this is it. And this is the cutoff date and come in and join. And yeah, within say a week or two, I had all of these, beautiful nurses reaching out and joining. And I think it was a real energetic shift. That's all I can put it down
Yeah.
to.
And do you know what I'm studying a lot about at the moment and finding it so fascinating? Because, we talk a lot, you hear a lot like energy and magnetism and all of these things. A lot of these concepts around manifestation and decline attraction and magnetism are actually rooted in real neurology and physiology. And we spoke the other day. Went to this event in America last year, and one of the speakers was saying, there is the tiniest little nuances in your voice that are undetectable to
Yes.
the average person. But on a subconscious level, we are going, there's something not right with them. And
Yes.
and even though you're saying exactly like you're showing up, you're smiling, you're like, come join my program. And people can on a very subconscious that there's tiny little discrepancies in the way that and they're like, something's not magnetizing me. And then other times I've been to so many webinars and things like that. And I know I went to one recently and I'm like, I don't even know why I'm buying this. There was something about, I just felt so pulled in to buy. And then other times someone could deliver exactly the same webinar. And I'd be like, and I think that this is the thing as well that we might think, like objectively, me looking at your marketing, nothing changed. Like you have always been fantastic at showing up, speaking confidently, being beautiful and magnetic and offering words of wisdom. But there's times when you're like, why is this working? And
Yes.
then other
Yep.
times where you're like, what the hell is going on? And I do believe there's those subtle little differences that are either calling people in or really subtly not calling them in. And I think that as soon as you started to make that decision, you're like, this is the way that it is. This is how
Yep.
I flow. This is who I am. This is how I attract because you are one of the most powerful manifestors I have ever met. You really are. Like you've got this way of like, I'm going after that. And sometimes it doesn't come about the way that you want it to or expect it to, but it
Yep.
does happen. It does happen eventually. Um,
Absolutely.
and it was just so cool to be getting all these messages from you like, bing, bing, bing. And you're like, I'm doing less
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
making more. So, it was a really, really beautiful experience to witness. And I know for you that it was just such a game changer in such a short period of time.
It so was. And I think, yeah, I remember being at the park and you were like, Michelle, in the afternoons, like switch off, no more, because I was, madly spending my afternoons trying to figure out my next thing that I could offer for free, to my audience. And you tasked me to go and just switch off and be with my little girl And one afternoon I was in the park with her. We were kicking the football around and running around. And I had a nurse reaching out in that moment, message me on Instagram saying, can I join? I'm ready. I need to get in there now. And it was like, what is happening? But you're so right. I was out of alignment, and I think the way that I was showing up hadn't changed, but there's those slight little energetic, I don't know, things that can be felt through marketing and messaging and social media that other people were feeling unconsciously, that wasn't, inviting them in the way that I have been able to now with the shift. And I think you helped me plug up all of the ways that I was leaking my energy that weren't in alignment. And since then, yeah, I've been manifesting so fast and so furious. And yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so pleased to hear. It was honestly, it was such a fun day, wasn't it? Because obviously we had the session where we sat down and we were mapping out how we're going to tackle all of these strategies. Then you had your spa session and you
So
got, went and got spoiled at the spa. And then we went out and had a beautiful dinner where we were talking quite a lot about integrating everything we'd spoken about as well over the dinner and also just enjoying each other's company, having a beautiful meal. And yeah, it was just such a magical, transformative day.
It
And
was the best day. I want to go back
oh,
and do it all again.
yes. And the months to come, like we were chatting pretty much every single day. We were on Voxer, making sure that you were, because I noticed that you'd kind of have this resistance. You go to do it and you're like, I don't think I can do this. And I love that we had that month of Voxer after to really help you to actually go and implement the plan. But it's funny, this might be helpful for your clients as well. But I sort of find in business that people fall into one of two groups. Either they are doing way too much or they aren't doing enough. And or they're not doing enough of the right things particularly. I think that in the online world we can glorify the 10-hour work week and all of those things, and sometimes it's like, but you're not even participating in your marketing, you're not even telling people about how you can help them. So one of the things that one of my clients said this week, she goes, Claire, you give me a to don't list. And I
Yes.
love that because it's like, here's the things I don't want you doing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And like you said something before about being a being coachable, and
Yeah.
some of the things that you said to me were really tough, really hard to hear. And you were like, "Oh, I don't know how this is going to land, Michelle. However, this is what and you delivered what you needed to share with me, and it was like, oh, that is really hard to receive. And I just would sit with it because rather than feeling triggered and resisting that information, this is what I invested in. I wanted this. I wanted your knowledge, your wisdom, your insight, your vision. And I received it, sat with, being uncomfortable and feeling really vulnerable. And that was the space where I was able to just, okay, I'm taking it on board and I'm going to act on this. And I did every time. So yeah,
I just got goosebumps all over. I'm so proud of you, and I have just loved witnessing that you be able to create these changes in your life. I know that this is going to have a beautiful ripple knock-on effect as well to all of your beautiful nurses, because sometimes we forget, you are really fantastic at self-care and you're really amazing at balancing energy. And sometimes we get a bit out of alignment ourselves. And it's
yeah,
it's really great to kind of be able to go, oh, this is what's going on for my clients. And be able to then tell that story and remind them, hey, you can change your life. I've done it multiple times over.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
but you're gonna have to get uncomfortable to change. You can't change. You can't expect changes in any area of your life if you're not willing to do the work. And you're a testament to that for your clients and your students. And yeah, it was a real honor to be part of that journey. So if people are listening and they are, they're like, hang on, I know some nurses. What is the way that they can say to the nurses in their world, hey, go and connect with Michelle. I heard someone on a podcast. This is exactly what she does. She helps nurses to change their lives, to get back more freedom, to get back more time, to get out of the overwhelm. How can they connect? And to be honest, I know quite a few nurses, and this is such a common thing in your industry. I think there's very, very few people who are actually good at doing this without getting some help. So I think that even if they
Yeah.
seem to be fine on the outside, send them Michelle's way. What's the way that they can connect with you?
Yeah, so through Instagram at Michelle Gordon underscore coach. So I'm on Instagram, I show up there most days, and I have so many links and resources in there. So Instagram at Michelle Gordon underscore coach. I'm also on Facebook at The Healthy Happy Nurse, and my podcast, Finding Bliss After Burnout. So that has been such a beautiful resource for so many nurses across the world, which is I'm loving that it's reaching so many nurses from all over the world. And I've also created a beautiful self-paced short course for nurses called the Aligned Nurse Method. And that is such a great starting point for nurses who are feeling stuck, lost, frustrated, questioning their career. This is, yeah, my little step-by-step way that they can get started straight away into coaching and really gaining clarity, taking back control, and getting their energy back.
I love that. Well, I'll of course pop all of the links in the show notes for today's episode. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey. I hope it's inspired some of the listeners to be able to recognize, hey, maybe you're feeling a bit blocked or feeling a bit stagnated. You can change your life in a matter of weeks, a matter of days. So
Yeah.
if Michelle can do it, you can do it. Thank you for sharing your story. And as always, it's been lovely chatting to you.
Thank you.